Hey guys, so today we're going to do the second part of section 10.2. So far you've learned about how to find arc measure in degrees, and today you're going to learn about how to find arc length. Okay, so arc length is different than arc measure. So here we go. Let's get started. Okay, so how arc length and arc measure are different. Arc measure is like the opening of the arc, like how many degrees it is, versus arc length is the linear distance. So basically what that means, linear distance, is like how long is it? It's in linear units. And some examples of linear units are like, oops, that's supposed to be an R. Linear units are like inches, centimeters. So like if I were to take a string and put it on the arc and then measure it, that's what arc length is. So inches, centimeters, feet, and so on. Okay, so there's a special formula that we use to find arc length, and it's right here in this box. We take the measure in degrees, we put it over 360, and then we multiply it by the circumference. So you may remember from section 10.1, there are two different formulas for circumference, either 2 times pi times the radius, or diameter times pi. It doesn't matter which one you use. I usually just look at the problem and determine, are we given the radius or are we given the diameter? And that determines which formula for circumference that you use. So I have a few examples. This first one says in circle P, PR is 9. So if you look at the picture here, PR is right here. That's a radius. So the radius is 9. An angle QPR is 120. Find the length of arc QR. So arc QR is here. So the measure in degrees of arc QR is, remember, the same as the central angle. So arc QR is 120 degrees, but we want to know how long is it if the radius is 9 units. So we're just going to plug into this formula here. It's the measure over 360, so 120 over 360, and then we're going to multiply that by the circumference. Now, to determine which of these two equations we're going to use, you want to look at the segment that we were given. We were given the radius, so I'm going to use the one with radius. So 2 times pi times 9. Okay, now when you put this in the calculator, I would not suggest to put it in all at once. You're going to do this part first, the fraction. So in your calculator, you're going to do 120 divided by 360 equals, you should get 0.3 repeating. Leave that decimal in your calculator and hit times 2 times pi times 9. You should get about 18.85. So double check that you're getting this same number in your calculator. If you can't get the same answers as me, make sure you shoot me an email and I can figure out what's going on depending on what calculator you're using. Okay, so that's the first example. The second example, we're doing 4 more using this circle. Okay, so just remember when you're given a circle with some diameter, so this is a diameter and this is a diameter. Remember, it's 180 on both sides. You can use that to find all of the angles. So I'm going to do that first. So like this one and this one are vertical. So that means this one is also 70. Then these 3 are going to add to 180. So if you add 70 and 50, that's 120. Subtract from 180, get 60. And then this one over here, these two are a linear pair because they make this straight line. So if you do 180 minus 70, you can get 110. So now I'm going to use that to find all of these over here. So these are asking us to not just find the measure, but we're asked to find the length. So we're going to use that formula. So the first one is RT. Let me grab a different color. So RT is here. This R is supposed to be pushed over. So in order to find the length of RT, we need the measure of RT, which corresponds to its angle. So the measure of RT is 50 over 360. And now we're going to multiply by the circumference. So before we decide which formula to use, we have to look at the picture and determine if MT is a diameter or is it a radius. So if you look at the picture, MT is a diameter. So we're going to use the diameter times pi formula. So we're going to do times 7 times pi. We're not doing 2 times pi times 7. That would be if MT was a radius. So then you put that in the calculator and you end up getting 3.05. Always label units, yards. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, next we have MST. So MST, remember trace from M to S to T. MST is a semicircle, which is 180 degrees. So 180 over 360. And then we're going to determine, is MP a radius or a diameter? So let's look at the picture. MP is here, which is a radius. So that's our radius. So that means we're going to use 2 times pi times the radius. So 2 times pi times 2. Now, some of you may be thinking, can't I just double the radius and get 4 and do 4 pi, diameter times pi? You can totally do that. Either way, it doesn't matter. Whatever it makes sense to you. Okay, so if you put this in the calculator, remember you're dividing 180 divided by 360, you'll get 0.5, and then do times 2 times pi times 2, which would give you approximately 6.28 inches. Okay, that's that one. Next is NR. So NR is right here. NR is 60 degrees because it corresponds to that angle measure. So for my formula, we need 60 over 360 times, now the circumference. So we want to look at the picture and determine, is PR a radius or a diameter? So let's look at the picture. PR is here. Whoops. PR is here, which is a radius. Remember, the radius is only halfway, diameter is full. So that means this is a radius. So we're going to do 2 times pi times 13. So plug that into your calculator. 60 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 13. You end up getting 13.61. And that's feet. Okay, last one is MRS. So let's look at the picture. MRS, so from here to here, all the way to S. So you could find this one a few different ways. You could add 70, 60, 50, and 70. You end up getting 250. Another way to do it is 110 is the only part of the circle that's not included in this arc. So you could do 360 minus 110, which would give you 250 also. Okay, so our arc measure here is 250 over 360 times their circumference. So now we need to look at the picture and determine if NS is a radius or is it a diameter. MS, oops, I keep doing that. NS, notice, goes the full length of the circle, the full distance, edge to edge. So that means it's a diameter. So this is a diameter. So that means instead of doing 2 times pi times 10, I just need to do 10 pi. Diameter times pi. So you're going to do 250 divided by 360 and then times 10 pi, and you get approximately 21.82 centimeters. So that's it. I mean, you find the arc measure just like we did last time. Once you have the arc measure, it's really important that you look at the picture and determine if what they gave you is a diameter or a radius. That's probably the biggest mistake that kids make with this lesson. Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions, please let us know, or you can join our Zoom session at 11:30. All right, guys, have a nice day.